here to talk about A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. This is a vampire film. This is a film that has a lot of interesting notes to me based on, it coming out in 2024. This is a story that takes place in a kind of puritanical religious government, right? Yet we still see all of these images that feel so relatable, so normal to our American life, I feel like. I think that's one of the things I love most about foreign cinema is when you see these worlds that feel like there's no entry point for you, but the humans are all going through the exact same thing, except for our titular girl who happens to be a vampire, right? It's a black and white film. It is one of the most staggeringly beautifully shot films I've seen in the 2000s period. I was watching it back, and I'd seen this movie. I was flabbergasted at how beautiful this fucking film is. I was stunned by the maturity to just sit the camera and hold on these long fucking black and white shots. It's a kind of filmmaking that harkens back to a more classic era of cinematic storytelling, and I think it just has this awesome kind of transgressive story at the core of it. Alex, would you like to give us some of our basic groundwork for the movie? Who made this movie? Synopsis, all the good stuff.
Oh, you'd like me to pronounce her name? Yeah, no problem. So it was written and directed by Liliana Amirpour. She is an Iranian filmmaker. It was released at Sundance in 2014. However, our kinship with this film is this was also financed by Indiegogo. For $56,000.
56 grand. That's all they had. Wow.
Well, that's what the campaign raised. I'm sure maybe there's other funding as well.
I mean, you can kind of see it. There's not a lot of like huge set pieces involved in this film. It's stark. Wow, talk about outkicking your coverage. Incredible.
Shot in 24 days. Also, probably something that not many people would know. Not shot in Iran.
See, okay, now this actually threw me for a loop when you said that. That this was not shot in Iran, but actually in Kern County, which is where all of our buddies on the Wipe would do like bro fishing trips. I think it's incredible. Why do they have a village that looks like that in Kern County? This felt not American to me. This felt like I was in Iran. I was like, why is there so much graffitiing of the word sex everywhere? Wouldn't the regime be cracking down on that a little harder? But you know what is a funny thing now that you mentioned this was all shot here in America? Let's start here. I want to ask you a question. There is a distinct lack of authority figures in this film. For a movie that's set in Iran, right, that has this kind of crushing religious leadership, right, which, is not a secret to anyone.
Another reason they didn't shoot there.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because that's one of the things you think watching it. You're like, how the fuck did they do this in that place?
Yeah, how did they have a character like Rockabilly on set?
Yeah, it's bizarre. But there is no kind of government figure. There's no police. There's no detective. The story is a young man whose father's a drug addict, the drug dealer, a prostitute, a vampire, and a little boy who observes. That's roughly all the characters that have a point of view. And some lady who got a nose job who's like a rich girl, whatever. Why do you think this film, with it set in black and white, which feels like it's giving it a repressive tone already, why is there such a lack of those authority figures in this film?
I like the idea that there's just... Well, for one, so in the movie, they live in what's called Bad City. So I think that has something to do with it. Is like the idea is that there's no authority because there needs to be no authority, I guess. Like this place sort of just runs itself and is a good thing to be left alone. But I do think like the lack of authority figures, because like there's no cops. Like I don't think there's ever a scene with police.
No,
but I think the lack of authority says a lot about sort of contextually how little these people actually observe authority in some way. Like they just live their life. Like, one of the main characters is a drug dealer who's like walking around threatening people constantly. I think for me, the movie is such a strange because I really love this movie.
Incredible.
I think what's fascinating though, it starts in such a way that I like. It's just not what you would expect a movie like this. Because again, if you're here, a movie takes place in Iran. It's a vampire movie. Okay, cool, sure. Starting on like a fucking classic car, and like our main dude, Arash, like not where I expect the movie to start. And not only that, like there's such like stylistic choices at the beginning of this movie that I'm like, this is gonna keep me going. Like I think this is like the really cool thing, because a lot of the time I watched when I was I don't know why, but when I was in high school, we watched a lot of like Middle Eastern cinema for like classes and stuff. I have no idea why. We would go to the theaters for it a lot. And there's just a very specific aesthetic that comes from those kinds of movies. And a lot of it has to do with budget. A lot of it has to do with just like the available equipment and stuff like that. The Iranian film industry, I'm not really sure much about, but like we watched a lot of Middle Eastern cinema. This has such a strange and different vibe to it at the very beginning. It just takes you to a different place. And I think that's like the power of the movie like that, is that I'm not thinking about where are all the adults or where's the authority figures in this movie. And I think that's a really fascinating trick, that you're asking that question. I didn't even think about that, quite frankly, because it's just it almost feels like it's not. Like they say it's Iran, everyone's speaking Farsi. It almost feels like it's not Iran. It's like another planet almost. It's such a strange and fascinating way to start a movie, and for a movie like this to be. It's really strange. I mean, I love it though.
Yeah, I think what you see is, because we start off and it's kind of this like, greaser kid. He's got his cat. He's got his nice car. It feels odd, right? And they kind of have this like kind of joyous music, and then all of a sudden the music's slowed as he's walking over this bridge, and there's this ditch we see many times where people are just rolling dead bodies into it. There's just a mountain of dead people in this thing that we don't even talk about. I think the kind of beautiful calculus the movie plays with is we see him literally just walking past a heinous crime, trying to get a cat, trying to have a car, trying to look cool. He's doing classic American young person problems as he's literally walking over a mass grave, right? The idea that our vampire lady is in the hijab, right? She's covered up. The prostitute still has Chador, yeah. Burqa, hijab. I always get all these fashion terms mixed up. So
I didn't know that's what it was called until I looked it up.
Yeah. Right. I have Middle Eastern families. I have some of this stuff. I should know this. Sorry to my Syrian relatives out there. My bad. I've been Americanized and white trashed. But, as a Syrian American, I have relatives that are, do some of this stuff. And I think what they're doing, though, is they're getting at this immediate imagery of the woman fully covered up, right? Or the women. Yet we can see this guy with like his, half a Post Malone tattoos and his Chris Moltisanti tracksuit. Immediately you see the power dynamics. Immediately you see this is a government and a world that forces women to hide themselves and make themselves smaller. Immediately you see that men in this town can do what they want, that there's just a power dynamic where if you are the drug dealer, you can run around by force and throw a lady down on the street and just charge protection. Yeah. You can get this dad high as fuck and just steal this guy's car. The kid not being able to go to an authority figure, again, kind of harkens at where are these people? What it's playing at is that when you live in one of these societies, he can't go to anyone for help anyway. So they might be there, but they're not cleaning up the mass grave. They can't help him get his car back. There is this, it's bizarre, but just the idea that we think this is Iran, those authority figures are there in kind of the blanket oppression of every scene in the film.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like, again, it's fat. Like, I think selling it to Western audiences, like when I think about like how Western audiences work, like me, if you say, oh, the movie takes place in Iran, there's already like some sort of like, there's a cultural shift in my brain. It's like, oh, there is like some sort of authoritarianism going on. Mm. Not to say it's any better in America at this point.
Yeah, you're expecting a vampire to eat an Ayatollah by the end of this, right? Like
yeah. Like
this has to be a movie about a girl who's fighting this patriarchy, whatever. And it's
Yeah,
that's not
everything I know about Iran comes from Salman Rushdie and anything I've seen in the news, So again, Liliana Amirpour does such a good job of selling to American audience. I think to American audiences, particularly like, hey, let's just use all the dumb shit that you guys know about Iran against you, so that you just know there's a prevailing sense of authoritarianism in your head when this movie starts.
Right.
But you don't need to see any authority figures to know that there's just like looming authority near.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the movie doesn't need to waste time explaining the political, machinations of Iran, because we don't know that.
It's also not relevant.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
It's so
what it is. I think it's this nebulous zone of why is no one fixing the problem, right? Why is there a mass grave? Yeah. Why are there car robberies? Why is all this stuff allowed to happen? But it takes place in a world like, when they're at the party. They're just at a drug party. I've done that. The kid's just staring at light bulbs and she's skateboarding and, it's just all these things. It feels very suburban at times, right? There are just these moments that feel like our world. And I think that's the point. It's getting at this. You see the fingerprints of the societal tilt, but that's not what the story is about. The story is about people trying to show certain things to the world, right? The drug dealer's trying to project what he wants to be in every frame he's in. The prostitute is trying to, project the good, strong prostitute while trying to save money to get out, right? The dad is to me, the dad is the character that most represents the kind of authority figure that we're missing in the movie. Sure. The dad represents this man who was raised and grew up, and he has these advantages, you think, but all that power has led to nothing, and he's just stuck in Bad City in this heroin addiction, right? This really kind of harrowing moment he finds himself in. That, I need my medicine. It's so fucking hard to watch. It's so tragic. Heroin stories are they always cut right to the core, man. But I think in a weird way, the hollow remnants of dad who's no longer protecting his son, who's only dragging him down, right? Who's going out to the prostitute and is treating her horrifically as well, right? When he sees the vampire, he's, scared enough to run. I think he represents these institutions are not as strong as we think they are, and they're hollow. And there is this kind of hope that this story of normalcy, which is a weird way to say it because it's a fucking vampire eating people, that the human stuff just always will exist. You can't stamp that out no matter where you are on planet Earth.
Yeah. I mean, it's hollowness, I think, is a great way to put it. I think that's probably the most apt term. Like, everyone in the movie is searching for something to make them feel whole. Mm-hmm. That's, I think that's a universal thing. I think that's what's so interesting when the when the vampire element starts getting introduced. Mm-hmm. You're almost like, normally you're sort of at least like, there's a level of intrigue that comes with vampirism and like those kinds of stories when they show up, and I just wanted her to be okay. Like, I don't know how else to describe this. Like,
you just want the vampire to be okay?
Like, I know it's illogical. Like, it makes no sense. But I was just like,
I know. I'm with you though. There's like a thing, like, we've always had a soft spot for like the sexy vampire we're horny for. Like, that is just a thing throughout movie history. These vampires, you're like, these are terrifying monsters, but maybe, just maybe. So, and that's the thing. She's played very young in this movie to me for parts of it too. There's almost like a childlike nature to her at times. So I get what you're saying. I don't think that's completely off base.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a strange thing it's a strange thing to watch this movie. Like, it's so good. Like, and there is like so many. I think stylistically, it's the strongest stylistically. Like, I don't think the story is bad or anything like that, but I think just the style this movie has. I don't think I've watched I don't care how you shoot your movies, like, I don't care what format they're shot on, as long as they're shot well and like they're worth watching, that's fine. I don't think I've watched a black and white movie in a long time where I've been like, man, there's like such a fascinating use of light in this movie.
Yes.
Like, the way like people's skin is so washed out in this film. in the black and whiteness. It's so fast. It's really fascinating. Like the contrast is so crazy. Like the scene I think about the most. So when he after the when she meets Arash when he's like riding home on the skateboard, he's like sitting on the skateboard on the way home. That scene, and it's just like stark. Like there's not a lot of set. It's just like on a street. It's so fascinating. I'm just like, I'm just being struck by like how contrasty everything was. This is really fascinating.
Well, the moment right after that where they're in her pad and he's spinning the disco ball, and it's just this long shot of like him kind of walking up to her and her turning, and is she going to bite him? And it's just filled with tension and sexuality and repression, and there's something so alive in that moment as the camera is just on sticks, just fucking framing this moment, and it's so fucking beautiful. And yeah, the way the light plays off the disco ball, the deep shadows, like, because the obvious thing you would say, like, why is this in black and white, right? I think it adds to the flattening and repression of the movie, right? That there's just this thick, fucking disgusting layer of weight that's in every scene of this. And that's playing again to the Iran thing. There's also all these shots of, these dead bodies in a ditch, these, oil derricks, whatever the fuck they are, pumping out all this fucking gas. It is, the whole movie's desolate and stark and this and that. The black and white does help sell that. But again, I think this is different. You can't, there's like a Clerks black and white where it's like, yeah, we just got to do it because our colors are shit, whatever. But black and white,
there's a cost problem there,
right? The black and white, the revisionist
this is like such a specific
the
choice.
Black and white makes it look like security camera footage, and you're like, that's not how they use that device at all. Fine.
Even Kevin Smith's willing to admit that it would cost less.
Yeah. This one though, I do feel like the black and white helps set the narrative tone with the story. And then, the deep fucking shadows, right? It's this deep, what is inside of a person when they're not allowed to be what they want to be, right? And especially with the vampire, like her outfit just fucking eats all of the surroundings. It's so fucking stark of a silhouette. It cuts into everything as if there's this empty spot where something's supposed to be. And what is there, we don't understand. It doesn't make sense. It's childlike and little, but there's a power. I think the use of the black and white in this, I think, magnifies this movie multiple times. I think it would be really hard to imagine this working half as well in color, to be honest.
I think the use of her Chador is such a fascinating use of like somehow negative space, even though she obviously fills out the outfit, like it's almost like, again, she's almost absent from it when you see her, like because you can just see her face obviously. It's amazing to me. Like it really is just like one of those, like every time they have a shot choice like that, it's really fascinating, really really cool.
Yeah, well, there's tons of just her like watching the other characters from afar, and they feel this cold deep down in their heart, a cold we haven't felt in centuries, right? Like something is here to hunt and eat us. And you get that chill. And it's the use of negative space is a great way to say it, right? There is a vacuum that must be filled. There's this cold fucking slow tear because she's not running and chasing many of these people. It's slow. It's still. It's steady. It's a foregone conclusion. She will eat you whenever the fuck she wants. Yeah. And again, I think that also is this kind of Iranian tone of, they will just come for you whenever they want. This is a repressive government that does whatever. Yeah, play your little games. Think you have the power. Think you're going to escape. Whatever. Eventually, that shoe's going to fall and crush you. And it's odd that she becomes the messenger for that. The woman who's covered up becomes the messenger for this kind of like global terror that we think Iran is experiencing.
Well, I mean, again, it's just like, in her interaction with the prostitute, like when she goes and pays off the debt, and then there's this, I don't know, there's just this like, there's so much like stark, that vampire thing. I think it's so much about what could happen. I think that's the thing I like the most about like the vampire stuff in this movie is it's never just like, oh, there's a vampire around. It's more just like, there might be a vampire around. We see her do vampire shit, but like it's never a thing where we're just waiting for her for the next kill. You know those vampire movies we watch sometimes where we're just waiting for the next kill. This, we're just like trying to figure out what it is she's trying to accomplish a lot of the time. And for me, I do think it's really fascinating. You're right. Like her in her chador really is just like, but she's also sort of releasing people in a lot of ways. It's very fascinating, really. Like it's such a cool choice.
Yeah, to your point, I think it's the vampire stuff. It's like what could happen, but in the movie, it's not. There's never like an explosive payoff to that. It's not like, oh shit, when the 30 Days a Night vampires show up, we're fucking blood orgying. It's not like that at all. The bites are almost never on camera. I don't know that we ever see a fang sink into flesh. It's very much reminiscent of Lugosi's Dracula. It's just kind of this slow, yes, I have to eat. And again, it's a world where people aren't like, there's a fucking monster afoot. They live in a town with a fucking dead body ditch. Like these people are not even changing their routines when there's
a level
all
of
these
freedom
people
to that that I think is really, really cool.
And this is the scene of the movie when I would explain how the vampirism works in this, right? Because like the closest you get to that is when she's sucking the drug dealer's finger and she bites it off and she puts it in his mouth. That's a classic kind of vampire playing with their food moment, right? That's our first big one. To me, that's not how I will remember this movie, though. To me, the scene that in microcosm best explains this movie and why it is so fucking incredible is when the little skateboarder boy is going home at night, right? This little innocent boy who's lost his, he's out in the alley. Not even lost, he's just going home. And he sees the vampire, and he's like, okay, and he keeps skating. And she kind of stops and is talking, and he's like, okay, this is weird. I don't like this. He tries to skate off and get away, and she's teleported in front of him. Boom. And you're like, oh my God, is she going to eat this fucking child? Because this is the other thing. The movie weaponized against you. A girl walks home alone at night in this repressive place where she's got to be covered up. You think she's in danger all the time. No, she's Walter White. I'm the fucking one who knocks, right? I'm the danger. But you see this so clearly. This is not like, oh, poor feminist vampire movie. Yeah. She's on this kid's ass. And you're like, is she going to fucking murder this child? Who we assume is a nice kid. He's done nothing in the movie to insinuate he's not, other than ask for money from the guy with the nice car. Cool, shoot your shot. That's who I'd ask too, right? I'm not asking other broke people for their money. She's hovering over him, and she has that, have you been a good boy? He's like, yes. It's like that Meatloaf song. Have you been a good boy? Yes. Right? And she does it like 4 times. She's like, don't fucking lie to me. Don't lie to Meatloaf. Yeah. And he's like, I have. And she goes, you better always be a good boy. I will be watching you for as long as you live. And again, there's also this kind of political, statement to that of her trying to change the future by scaring the men of tomorrow. It's so fucking ominous. It's so dangerous. Yeah. It's a child. Does this child grow up now and be like, well, I'm extra afraid of women now. Maybe I will walk on down to the temple. It's just a very powerful, loaded image that's using all of these kind of preconceived notions we have and just throwing them in a fucking blender and be like, make sense of this soup. How do you feel about that? And it's beautiful. It's stark. It's perfect. It's a perfect movie scene.
Yeah, I think that's the power of the movie in general, is it's not asking you to make any assumptions about anything in the movie other than the fact that she's a vampire. Mm-hmm. That's like the only concrete thing you have. But like, again, the movie isn't getting bogged down in like politics. It's not getting bogged down in any sort of like cultural resonance or anything like that. What it is about is just, it's about escape and passion. Mm-hmm. And those are the kinds of things that everybody can relate to. There's not a single thing in this movie that I think is hard to relate to. Like, you could show this to anybody you show this to anyone, you're like, oh, it's an Iranian vampire movie. Like, well, what does that mean? And like, just watch it. If you just watch it, like, it's not like the things that make it culturally relevant are things that make anything culturally relevant. Like, watching it is such a fascinating experience because you're expecting something to be so different in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of there's a lot of things like, oh, I might not understand it because like I'm not part of that culture. It's like, that's not how this movie works at all. Yeah. And again, I think that's how all great movies work, is like, it's this like threaded needle of, it's specific, but at the same time, purely broad. Like,
Yes.
it's specific in terms of the delivery system and how it's being made. It's very much for everybody, though. If you like vampire movies, if you like movies in general, like, you will enjoy this movie. It's a fascinating thing.
Yeah, specificity usually opens your movie to become more universal. It sounds counterintuitive, but when you make it hyper-specific, what it becomes is a tale about human nature, human behavior. And that doesn't change a lot around the world, right? There are different cultural forces and you know, ways that we change. At our very core, we want to eat. We want to have a place to sleep at night. We want to feel safe. We want to be loved. These are universal themes. We worry at all times that something's going to end that for us, right? We feel fear. We feel anger. The base human condition doesn't change. So you using a very specific point of view and lens with which to tell the story, that hyper-specificity usually broadens your movie out in a way that something like a giant studio movie, right? It's like, let's make a movie that won't offend anyone so it works for everyone, becomes bland and vanilla, and it loses the human stuff of the movies that are great.
So Ben Affleck and Matt Damon have been doing their whole press tour for The Rip, the thing on Netflix. And there's something that through all the, you know, whatever. Affleck was on a podcast. He said something about, like, this is why AI is not going to be a thing in Hollywood. This is why it's not going to work. AI scripts work on one function, which is like the meaning like the thing that's going to appeal broadly to anybody. That's like how an AI machine would write scripts, is like, oh, it's the most bland thing you can come up with. And like, that's not why people go to movies. That's not why people watch movies. And I truly believe, like, the thing about A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night is it's a singular vision. It's a specific vision of someone wanting to make a vampire movie. The beauty of that is that it's found an audience. And this is why, like, when people say, like, oh, well, let's talk about the quadrants this script is going to hit. Let's talk about all its, like, commercial availability. I'm like, let's not, because here's the thing about that. You have no idea what's going to hit.
Skip.
You don't know what's going. Yeah. You don't know what's going to be. You don't know what's going to hit. You just have to make your thing. If you make your thing and people can tell that you actually gave a shit about making it, that's what a selling point. That's what actually is going to
always the thing.
That's what's going to make people show up. Because if people can tell that you're just there to cash your check, that's like, that's instant.
The It Was a Job movie, you can always tell. They're always the worst movies.
You can always tell.
I
you
fucking
know that,
care
you know that.
so much about... Dude, we're even out on the festivals with other little indie films, right? You can tell someone's just like, oh, cool, if I make this kind of movie that's an homage to this kind of movie that's slick and cool, people are going to really care. And you're like, yeah, but there's a degrading...
It's a false flag.
As I get iterations, right? I want to see something, even if it's weird, even if it's shot bad, like, I honestly don't care about those things. I want to feel the love for this story, this narrative, these characters. If you fucking love your characters, that comes through to me. And this movie loves these characters, even when maybe the characters don't love themselves or find it. There's a real coldness at the core of this movie. But I think in a weird way, we fill that vacuum and we try to, like, hug these characters a little tighter because of the coldness of the film.
Well, like, okay, this is the example I give. Like, so Hussein goes to the prostitute, basically, like, to get one last dose.
His son whips the heroin at him, and he's like, is this what you want? You want your fucking medicine? You're fucking talking crazy? The cat's mom? And he's like, take your fucking cat, get out of here. He's had enough. He goes
to that prostitute. And then the vampire chases him down and fucking kills him in the prostitute house. Kills him.
Well, you're missing one important step in this, right? Hussein's like, dance for me, right? And then she's like, all right, I'll dance for you if that's what you want. And he sits down. He's like, hey, you're gonna fucking take this heroin with me. She's like, hey, man, that's not like a fun. Let's take an edible together. I don't want to do fucking heroin with you. And he fucking grabs her. And
he fucking grabs her and ties her up and forcibly
injects
her. It's pretty horrible.
But again, I think that's why I do think he represents, like, the societal standard, right?
Absolutely.
Because again, it's this inflicting. his torture, like things didn't work out the way they're supposed to. All of his power and status, whatever, it didn't fucking matter. And he's like, you know what? I'm not doing this shit alone. I'm not sitting at the bottom alone being judged by younger generations. You're fucking joining me in a party.
But that's
And
that's
she comes
like
in
this
and
really,
she's like, nope, that's too far, and eats his ass.
yeah, that's a really spectacular moment though, because it is the first time we're like, oh wow, she's like, it's the first time we've really seen her provoked, where it's like, I will, like, that's who I feast on.
Yeah,
I think this is kind of the thing, is like, that's who I'm willing to eat, is people who are presuming themselves as authority figures, who would, make other people feel less than. That's who she eats. That's who's food for her.
Well, we see that with the pimp.
Says a lot culturally about a lot of things.
Yeah, the drug dealing pimp is like trying to get his blowjob. He's shaking this money down, lady, for her money, and he's like, "Oh, you're light. You don't get your cut." She's like, "God damn it!" He's starting to get the blowjob, and he sees her in the rear view. He sees the vampire, right? And he gets spooked. He throws that lady out of the car. She watches all this, throws her out of the car. We cut to her in her little dwelling, right? Putting on like whorish makeup. I guess it's supposed to be whorish makeup. Like eye-popping makeup, right? She wants now to be seen and stand out. She starts following the drug dealer, and he's like, all right, what's up, dude? What are we doing? Will you follow me? Let's go. The scene where, because this sets the tone for the whole movie to me, right? This is where, we learn she's got this kind of Dexter-like code. Until she just eats a homeless guy. I was like, hypocrite. She follows the drug dealer to his abode, right? And the guy just walks in. He's like, he's ripping lines, right? He's acting like he's got business. She doesn't want lines. And then he just walks over and grabs the 2 dumbbells and does like 3.5 curls. And I was like, this guy's doing the full display. This is the full, like, look at me. Look how lucky you are. You found a powerful man. I'm a man. I do man stuff. Hey, do you want some Coke? Man. And she's just kind of walking around, taking in his apartment, taking him in, like the slow steadiness of her, right? The snake ready to explode that's all coiled up. And she just sees how fucking pathetic he is. And he walks over, and she mimes what the prostitute did, right? Where she sucked his finger, and then he's like, all right. He pulls his little sweaty tracksuit down and starts the blow. She does the same thing, but bites his fucking finger off, right? And then he sees like, ah! She doesn't lunge in and just start bloodthirstily attacking him. She jams his finger into his mouth. Again, loaded imagery, power dynamics that you can't deny, but also just good, like the tension building in the scenes of this film. I think is the most important thing. You talk about sometimes like, oh, well, when is the balloon gonna pop? This is one of the best movies I've watched recently. Getting that balloon as big as you fucking can, and that's the thing. Do the balloons ever even pop, or it just kind of like? It's the tension like building is incredible in these scenes.
I guess, yeah. It's just so well like. There's just so much, like, there's just so well made. Like, I don't know how, like, you can cherry pick a lot of cool stuff in this movie, but, like, overall, it's like vibes, man. Like, there's just great vibes. Like, the vibes in this movie are just unbelievable, unmatched.
Yeah. At the start of the movie, I think you worry, you're like, oh, is this going to be like one of those Tarantino trying to do the cinema of cool thing? That's not the movie at all. Like, that's just not it. No. Like, to me, I think back to, her skateboarding down the street. You're like, what a fucking cool shot. Her pushing Akash on the skateboard. Me and Amy were like, God damn it, I love this image.
Yeah.
Awesome. Them in the apartment with the like, there's just so many beautiful fucking moments in this movie. Things that I could not get out of my head. I was so captivated. I don't know, for lack of a better word, it's just mature beyond its age. It's just very powerful, primordial storytelling.
Well, I mean, to that point too, I love that it's like, there is like this sense of like when it starts, like, oh God, is this a Tarantino thing? And you're like, no, like we're so far beyond that. Yeah. And it is like, I love that. I love that that's what the movie speaks to, and that's how the movie plays out. Because again, like, I love the opener. I love the style it comes with, and then it just becomes its own movie entirely. I don't know. I don't have enough nice things to say about this movie.
Yeah.
Other than fucking watch it. It's so good.
Yeah, it's hard to impugn,
so
man.
good.
And again, for a movie shot in California to look like Iran, to capture that, so like there's so much going on at all times, right? And again, I think the last thing I'll say that I really loved about this movie, I love the non-judgmentalness of the film. Right? Like, I guess you would say you judge the drug dealer and the dad. But when Akash goes in and he finds the gun and he finds the drugs and all this, you're like, oh, this is going to be some kooky crime thriller where, like, he left fingerprints on everything. And, you know, he's going to be running. There's a prostitute. The vampire just shows mercy towards the prostitute. Like, she just brings her gifts of all the jewelry that the drug dealer had for stealing from this woman, right? There's, like, a kindness to that. The son, Akash, loves his dad despite how fucking awful and a burden he's become. At the end, I think he really regrets when he sends him out into the street. And he's like, take your cat, take your fix. Like, I'm done with you. We then see his dad all rolled up and fucking eating. He feels the pain of that, the misery. But we're also not doing the, like, fucking junkie got what he deserved.
Yeah.
Right? We're not calling Akash a criminal and treating him like he's less than. The girl who got the rhinoplasty, it doesn't feel like we're saying anything bad about her. The movie is just, in a very mature way, showing us that there's just messy fucking people everywhere. And again, I think what we've lost a lot in movies is the ability to sit with messy characters. Now characters who are good have to be pure. That's not how the world works, man. People are fucking messy and they make wild choices and they follow their urges. In this movie, I think for the most part, I think the drug dealer and the dad maybe don't get a lot of that. But it doesn't feel like we're super judgmental. I think like a vampire, we accept these people for what their nature is. They're people in a place literally called Bad City that stare at death and degradation every day, and they're just fucking getting by. And I think the characterizations in this movie really excel because of that POV to me. One other thing I want to get to with you. The ending of this movie, I think, will leave some audiences scratching their heads. Why?
I
So
think
Akash goes to get the vampire. He's got to get out, right? Things have gotten bad. The walls are closing in and his dad's dead. He goes to get the vampire. He's like, hey, get your stuff. We got to go. She, without any argument, right? No fear of the son. She's not with her home base, whatever. She goes, okay. Packs her stuff. She's putting all her loot in a bag, and he's like, that's weird. He sees his father's cat, whom his father said was his mother, right? Mm-hmm. There's beautiful shot of his face kind of processing all of this imagery. They get in the car. He slams on the brakes. We don't know what's happening. Is this the vampire slayer moment? Whatever. He just gets back in the car and plays the tune, and they just drive off to, we don't know. What do you make of this finale, and what do you think is the future of these two?
I mean, I don't think they're like, I don't know. I don't know about the future, but the finale I love because what it is just, it's the first, it's funny because we've been talking about like what's great is this movie has no judgment. It's the first time in the movie where the audience is seeing like Arash make a judgment against someone, like, because he knows. It's not like he doesn't know. He knows something bad happened. And he gets out of the car and it's this split-second decision of like, do I make the judgment against someone who's just trying to get by? Because we're all just trying to survive.
Mm-hmm. He
and
himself stole a fucking case full of money that he knows she kind of helped him got his car back.
Yeah. So
his dad was not making great choices.
I think at the end of the movie, what it ends up being is I'm not going to judge someone who I could also, who, you know, didn't judge me. Mm-hmm. Like, they are a vampire. They're something otherworldly. And they chose me. Like, who am I? You know what's
funny? I don't even know if at the end of the movie he knows.
I don't think he does either.
She's a vampire. He just knows that she killed his dad.
He just knows she's a killer.
Yeah.
She just knows she's a killer.
And took his cat and maybe some other
judgment.
Shit. Yeah.
For a lack of judgment, it's pretty beautiful, kind of.
Yeah, and I don't even know that it would change the math if he did know or didn't know she was a vampire. I think what it is he looks at this girl and he's like, you know what? It reminded it's Chinatown, Jake. It's Bad City, man. People make bad fucking choices. She told him, I'm a bad girl, in that really cool ear piercing scene, right? Where she just wants the earrings and he's stabbing her and whatever. You know, I'm a bad girl. I do bad things. And we watch the moment in the apartment where he's processing everything and his face hardens. And we're like, oh, we're going to get the fucking, he's got to kill her, she's got to kill him moment. There's something, and again, I don't think many people appreciate the screenwriting choice here. The making a movie for sub $100,000 that you're trying to put out in the world. There had to be X amount of people that are like, dude, we got to see this finale. We got to see one of them get murdered. We got to see he's driving her, and then finally he's like, this is for my father. And he flips the convertible roof, and she bursts into flames. Like, that's the kind of thing we're trained to get as audiences. What I like is, again, this movie exists in this kind of, this is what a day in the life storytelling is, right? And we just get that kind of Sopranos ending of like, you decide. Right? They might just have a bunch more days. It might still come to a head. It might still be awful. All those boogeymen that you're afraid of, they don't stop when the movie's over, right? This is just what life is. I actually think it's a really ballsy choice that there's just kind of that walk away. You can see the director literally being like, do I do it or not? She just gets back in the car and plays a cool song, man,
and they
drive off.
She just says, yeah, it's over. Movie's over.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Everyone
really
thinks your finale
choice.
has to be like like this, you know, euphoric Kiss concert pyro explosion. Sometimes that's not how stories end in real life usually. You know what I mean? No. It's just these kind of whimpers. It's just deciding what matters to you. And he's like, I already lost my dad. I don't want to lose her yet. There's something
one of the greatest movies of all time, Casablanca. Literally ends with two guys walking away from a tarmac.
Yeah. He's looking at you, kid.
That's it.
Yeah.
No bombs. Just,
I don't know, man.
Chill.
It's just it's really like a stunning piece of work. Alex.
It's a really good movie.
What was the most messed up moment in A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night?
Oh, dude, when Hussein straps that girl down to give her heroin. That is not cool. That made me very uncomfortable.
There's a thing in movies a lot where you see where it's a really old, gross guy. This guy's on heroin, and it's like, you know, you see the kind of the carnal marketplace that prostitution is, where it's like, oh my God, she's got to bed that guy down. I don't think he's taking a shower. Jesus Christ. All that is sometimes hard to watch. And then, yeah, he's just like, you know what? I am sad that I'm a junkie alone. I'm going to forcibly give someone heroin.
I'm gonna make you do this.
Also, this is something that just for me, every time I see someone use heroin in a movie, my fucking skin crawls. My whole body like tightens. I'm like, ugh. Yeah. It just never seems fun or good. It's something that really is. It's like a dark primal reaction I have to heroin in movies.
It's gross.
It's fucking gross. If I had to pick the most messed up moment in A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, there's so many. There's so many that you could choose. I do think I gotta go with the drug dealer scene. The drug dealer, and it just starts off bizarre of him walking in, just ripping lines. He's kind of showing her how cool and powerful he is. He's like opening a briefcase to get nothing. When he goes and does his little curls and he's just doing house music and he's doing like his little dance. I was like, what kind of peacocking horseshit is this? The slow, unmoving nature of our vampire. Taking him in, his bad taste, his stupid art, just taking all that in. And she turns it around on him. She's like, you know what? This guy likes to have his fucking finger sucked. And she does it. Only to then bite it off. And the guy falls and screams. And she slowly walks to him and puts the fucking finger in his mouth and then just fucking drains him. And again, I think what's cool, it's so matter of fact. It's not bloodthirsty. It's not violent in a weird way. Like, it feels very serene, even though she's biting fingers on him. She's taking the time to let him know why this is happening to him. There's something really bizarre about the play with your food nature of this that really scared me. It was just, oh my God. Not to mention the obvious, visual imageries of the kind of greater political ideas of the film. I thought this scene, and it's right up at the top of the movie, just letting you know you're in for a very special ride with this movie.
Yeah.
It was incredible. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll be back next week with The Untamed. Again, this is our the tedium or the horniness of tedium curation. Man, my life is boring. I got to fuck something I shouldn't. That's just a more verbose way to say it.
That's a month of Amirpour right there.
Yeah, stay tuned for this month of Amirpour. We've got new movies every Monday, film festival drafts every Friday, and our the horniness of tedium curation all this month. Please go to Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon to support this show. That would mean the world to us. Please go to Indiegogo, type in Mr. Cream Jeans to help us get our first movie out into the world. Please follow Misfit Parade, subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the places. We're there. You're there. Let's hook it up.